You're listening to the Into the Woods podcast with your hosts, Dermott and Michael. Let's get into it.
Wonderful chase by Shaw.
Cox again. I cannot believe it. Dacos nearly runs out of room. He's goal.
Jamie Elliott has won the game of footy for this famous club.
Slap for Nick Dacos. He's going to be the hero. The little champ is going to pick the winner.
Here's the Degoe moment. He unloads. Bang! You need your stars. And Collingwood stars just went and wrenched the cup back.
If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. For Spotify and Apple listeners, a 5-star rating would be greatly appreciated. Make sure you hit the bell icon on any of those platforms to be notified as soon as new episodes are released. You can find us on X at Into the Woods Pod and on Instagram at Into the Woods Pod 10. Thanks for your ongoing support by helping the podcast grow. Go Pies! Welcome to Into the Woods. I'm your host Dermott, and for the next hour or so, we'll be talking about all things Collingwood. Once again, I'm joined by Michael. How are you, Mick?
Good, thanks. Good, thanks.
Well, you're alone. I think you're alone. I think you're the only one that's watching this that is good.
Well, you can't be too upset about things you can't control. We're just that, well, the wheels have fallen off a bit, haven't they? The wheels have fallen off a little bit. Hopefully, well,
how are you feeling? We're recording this at 9:40 a.m. on Saturday morning, so about 36 hours after the disaster that was Thursday night. We'll get into the hot topics a little bit later, but just tell me how you're feeling, like your whole mood around football.
well, when we played a Thursday night, it was a bit depressing, to tell you the truth. Not so much that we lost, but just how we lost.
I think it was a bit to do with the fact we lost as well, because it was a must-win game. And
yeah, but if we'd lost competitively, then that would have given us a little bit more hope for the future. That if we'd hit September, we could have a good month and steal the flag. But I'm not saying that can't happen. But I'm just saying that the way we played the other day with the 110-point turnaround from the last time we played them.
Jesus.
And our injuries aren't really that bad anymore. We've got Hill out and we had McCreary out, which I really think hurt us with those two bring pace. But yeah, so a little bit depressed on the night watching the way they played.
Yeah, it was awful. It was the first time since last year. There was an Essendon game last year where I'm not sure if we got smacked on the scoreboard, but we were no chance. I mean, we ended up only losing by 6 or 7 goals. It was very late in the year when our season was pretty much done, and I turned it off with 3/4 time. And that was the first time I had done that, I think, in my life. I always sit there to the end. I did it again on Thursday night. I could not handle that bullshit. I couldn't handle it. It was disgraceful.
Well,
it was just... We'll get into it a little bit later, but before we get into the hot topics, I did my first solo video, as you would have seen, Mick, after the technical issues of our first midweek episode.
Weren't really technical issues. You forgot to plug something in.
No, I didn't plug it in properly. That's what I was.
Semantics.
And yeah, I think I did a fantastic job, actually. I think I can maybe have a career in TikTok or something.
Well, the original video, I assure you, listeners, was a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, in that video, we were just letting everyone know that our panel show was delayed by a week. So it'll be on this Tuesday night, probably Wednesday morning. It'll come out. We record quite late on the Tuesday with the Grubman and Paddy and Andreas from Black and White United. So that will be on Tuesday. And I was actually thinking about that. Our first panel show at June 1 with the Grubman, he was on that one too. We're coming off that 10-goal win or whatever it was against the Hawks, and the lid was off. And that was the moment we said, we're a real chance. Like, we are a big, big chance of winning our 17 flag. It's funny, 10 weeks later, coming into our third panel show, it was a loss against the Hawks that pretty much has just almost not quite, but almost ended our season. Like, I know...
No, it hasn't ended the season. We're still going to be top 4, maybe 5th. Maybe 5th. So that's not the end of the world. We're not, but we are. Well, we'll get into that in a moment. But you know what else has been bothering me? Looking at these videos of you and I, it looks like you suffer from gigantism. Like you and I are around about the same height. We're both the Collingwood 6-footers. We're 5'11".
I'm taller than you.
No, we're both 5'11". The old Collingwood 6-footer.
I'm thinking I'm closer to 6 foot, but yeah.
Looking at the videos, there are some where you appear to be towering over me.
Big boy.
It's just weird. Like you're freaking Andre the
Especially,
Giant.
especially when we're at your house as well, because my house we can sort of put the camera back a little bit further. At your place, it has to be so close to us. That's where we are now. I reckon it makes me look bigger because I am bigger.
Well, we're both the same height. But anyway, moving on. Get onto hot topics or whatever it is.
All right, let's get into all the hot topics.
We've listened to the wisdom of Sir Winston Churchill and the brilliance of genius Albert Einstein. In the 60s, we heard the great JFK. Now, all the great minds are talking footy.
All right. That performance on Thursday night was nothing short of disgraceful, disgusting, pathetic.
You tend to go on a bit.
I've never been more embarrassed to be a Collingwood supporter than I was on Thursday night. There was zero effort.
How about those times you've cried at games? That's been pretty embarrassing, hasn't it?
No, but I have cried. I'm happy to say I've cried. I love the club, but I cried after 2018. I cried after 2011. Like I'm not embarrassed by the club. We lose close grand finals. You know,
You should be.
you got to be in it to win it. But in this case, I was embarrassed, and I'm embarrassed of the last 5 weeks. Like when you're 10 points clear top of the ladder. And then we feel like we can manage our players. We're in that good a position. Then we have the 5 weeks from hell. And all of a sudden, it looks extremely unlikely that we're going to even finish top 4 with a slight chance of missing finals altogether.
Yeah.
It is just... I don't think I've ever seen a club choke the way that Collingwood has this year. It choked in a home and away season. Like I've seen clubs... Sydney in particular choke on the biggest stage of all. But this, as a home and away season, this is as big a choke as you'll ever see. And
I'm not sure it's a choke.
Michael, it is nothing short of a choke. Are you serious right now? So after that Brisbane game was disgusting too. But you feel like after that, I was actually reasonably confident that we'll kind of come out firing the same way that Brisbane came out firing against us after they disgraced themselves against the Gold Coast Suns. Because that's what good teams do. Brisbane are a good team, and they responded. And I thought, we're a good team, we're going to respond. I was actually very confident. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on Thursday night. That's over. You said that season's not over. I reckon it just about is. Because we're talking about the potential ladder. It's pretty simple now. We've only 2 rounds left. We need to win both of our games against Adelaide and Melbourne. This is to finish top 4. We need to win both of our games, and then we just have to hope that one of Brisbane, Geelong or Gold Coast can drop a game. Geelong and Gold Coast have got pretty easy draws. Brisbane a little bit more difficult. So it's possible. When you read it like that, it is possible. But we're coming up against Adelaide next week at the Adelaide Oval. Best team in the comp, top of the ladder, firing. I've spoken a lot to our good friend Paddy, who's going to be on the Paddle Show on Tuesday, and he's reasonably confident because of our great record against Adelaide and our great record at the Adelaide Oval. But even when we were firing, and even when they were bad, the Crows, they were still always close games. So you think at some stage they're going to beat us, and it should be now, really, when they're at the top of their game and we're at the lowest of lows. I know Collingwood have a history, backs against the wall. We win these kinds of games when no one expects, but it's going to be difficult. Like what I saw on Thursday night and the week before, I think we're absolutely cooked. And we'll finish outside of the 4. And I know Brisbane did it from outside of the 4 last year. And I know the Dogs did it in 2016, but it's rare. It's bloody rare. You basically have to finish top 4 to be a great chance of winning a flag. And the way that we're playing at the moment, I can't see us winning 4 finals games to be the premiers. And with the list that we've got, the most experienced list in history, and how we were all in with getting guys like Dan Houston, we'll talk about him a bit later, Membry, Perryman, anything short of a premiership is a failure. As simple as that. I don't care about making finals. I want to win a premiership. I'm sick of just being... I know we won in 23, but my whole life, basically, we've been a great competitive team, and that's fantastic, and we're seeing a lot of great finals wins. I want to see more premierships. I want to be like Geelong and Hawthorn. We shouldn't be satisfied by making finals, especially when we're top of the ladder for 80% of the season and miss the top 4. And, oh, wow, we might win one elimination final. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. I don't think I've ever felt more flat going into a final series unless a miracle happens and we somehow scrape into top 4, which will involve a huge upset win this week against the Crows. Sorry, I've gone on too long. I'll let you have your say.
I've forgotten what I was going to say. Dacos. With all this resting and all this management of going on, gee, it would have been nice to have given him a week off at some stage, because it's probably too late now to give him a week off, because we've got a bye coming in a couple of weeks. So leading to finals, you don't want him to have too late weeks off leading into finals. He should have been given a week off. I've been calling for it for a good month or 6 weeks. Give the guy a weekend off, because he's banged up. He's obviously banged up. And McRae said, he spoke to Dacos about this, and Dacos said no. Well, mate, you're the coach. Sometimes you have to make the tough decision, and you have to say what's good for the team and what's good for the individual, rather than just let the individual run the show.
I'm not sure if I agree with you, because I reckon the reason we got into this mess at the start was by resting play, unless we did it against Richmond.
Well, I retract it. If you don't agree with me, I retract my opinion.
It's a conversation. Maybe I do agree with you, actually. If we did it against Richmond, then that would have been fine. But this whole mess began by resting players against good teams. So I don't think resting Nick Dacos would have helped the situation, unless it was against Richmond. So yeah, maybe a point.
That would have been the obvious one. But having said that, when he won by 6 goals,
and he had the highest rated game of the year, so if he wasn't there,
we might have lost. But yeah, there you go. And Long, it hasn't his form mirrored that of the side.
10 disposals on the weekend.
Did he get that many?
Yeah, well, I think he was on about 5. Oh, he had 1 at half time, so it had 1 till half time, and I think he had about 5 at 3/4 time.
I think I saw it Wednesday. Yeah, it would have been late in the third quarter. He had 4. Yeah, but it's funny. It's not funny. It's just funny that his form directly mirrors that the side. He was flying earlier in the year. The side was flying. He slowly dropped off. Pretty much when we started to drop off in form. In retrospect, going right back to the King's birthday game where we only won by a point.
Yeah.
I think his form started to dwindle a bit about then.
Well, do you want to know that our first episode against the Hawks earlier in the year, I think the title was "Long May the Hawks Regret."
Yes. I've had a response just in the last day from a Hawks mate that I texted after that, and he's just managed to get back with me now. Funny that.
Who's this mate? Why have I never heard of him?
I've got a lot of friends
No,
in a
you
lot of
don't.
different areas.
That's
A lot
incorrect.
of different walks of life. I can walk with princes and paupers.
All right.
Isn't it typical of Collingwood? You got Morris from the Lions,
yeah.
Brisbane Lions. What's his first
Logan.
name? Logan Morris hadn't been able to get a kick in a couple of weeks leading up to the Collingwood game. We get him back into form. 6 goals straight. John Newcomb literally couldn't get a kick in the month to 6 weeks prior. Really struggling. Whacking back into form. Of course, he survives the big collision. Our second best player has to go off the ground and probably miss him for a week, if not 2. He comes up fresh as a daisy, gets 28 possessions, best on ground. Typical Collingwood luck.
Oh, that's a good segue, because I wanted to start with the Jeremy Howe thing. The first minute and a half of the game, it was all. You could make a case that the game was over in the first minute and a half when Jez went down. It was just the most deflating thing. Like, I don't want to sound dramatic. I felt like I was nearly in tears, because I wasn't, but I felt like I wanted to be, because it was just, we've waited weeks, and like I've said in a podcast the last couple of weeks, he's our second most important player. And I was so happy that he was back. And that was what was filling me with confidence that we could maybe save our season in the next few weeks. And when he went down the first minute and a half, it was heartbreaking. Not only that, knowing that he was then going to miss the Adelaide game as well. And we know how dangerous their forward line is. And I don't want to sound like a bit of a prick, but I was thinking at the time, like, okay, Howe's down. This is disastrous. But Newcomb potentially being out could even it up. And I don't want anyone to suffer from concussion. Absolutely not.
That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah. But the selfish point of view is like, well, we want to win this game. It's season defining.
Oh, yeah, I wanted him out.
But then a little part of me was like, but it'd just be so typical of Collingwood to not get that luck. Once again, don't want him concussed, but the luck of him being okay and Howe being the one that's injured. And of course, he came back. I knew that he would. I
wanted to look across to the bench and see him sewing his head back on. That's what I wanted to see.
But then as Howe was getting carried off, I sent you a message. I said, Moore needs to stand up tonight.
Well, good segue to Moore.
And then 1 minute after I send that message, the game's back on. Darcy Moore taps the ball, looks like almost deliberately, straight into the hands of Nick Watson, runs in, kicks the first goal of the game. And at that stage, I thought, there's 6 points to 0 up, and I think the game's over. Because in the first minute, I've seen our second most important player go down. I've seen the guy that should be standing up in his absence do the most Darcy Moore thing imaginable. Yeah. That guy, I've never seen a bigger drop-off. I've never seen a bigger drop-off in my time as a Collingwood supporter. We talk about Brodie Grundy 2018-19, going into 2020.
Have a bit of a rest for a minute.
No. Stop. I've never seen enough is enough. This guy is a leader. He's the captain, and he's continuously let us down in the last 5 weeks, and it goes back even longer. His season last year was awful. Now, like I was just trying to say before you were interrupting, Brodie Grundy 2018-19 into 2020-2021. I always thought that was the biggest drop-off in form I've seen from a Collingwood player. Darcy Moore of 22 to 23 into 24 and 25 is a bigger drop-off. Darcy Moore was the best centre-half back in the game for a 5-year patch. He was a premiership captain. He was at the top of his game, in the prime of his career age-wise. And I cannot believe what we have witnessed in the last 2 years. And he is a huge reason, not the sole reason, because everyone's been down, but he's a huge reason why we have dropped 4 of the last 5 games and our season is hanging by a thread. He should be standing up in the absence of Jeremy Howe. And I know you hate this saying, Michael.
You're not standing up. This is weird. You're just towering over me.
He shut the bed again. I know you hate that, but he shut the bed again.
It's classless. It gets me into trouble with Richard from Sleepy Hollow. Okay, he thinks it's classless.
I don't care. But here's a question to you about Darcy Moore. I'm putting it out there. And I'm only being so hard on Darcy Moore because like I just said, he was the best centre half back in the game for 5 years, so we know he's capable. He's the captain of the club. But my question to you is, should he remain the captain of the club heading into 2026? Because I'm sure he's an amazing off-field leader. I'm 100% sure that is the case. But I want an on-field leader too. And he doesn't lead by example. Not the last 2 years anyway. He's actually probably the most unreliable player on the ground. Whenever he's near it, I hold my breath. And that's not an on-field leader. Has it got into the time where maybe Nick Dacos takes over as a captain? Or if Nick Dacos isn't quite ready, is it Braden Maynard for 1 or 2 years? A bit like what Scotty Burns did between Bucks and Nick Maxwell.
All right. Well, let me talk. You brought up a lot there. So
sorry, I'm just...
So let me unpack. So this great revelation that maybe Darcy Moore should be relieved of his captaincy. For those who have been listening to the pod as it was last year on Spotify, I brought this up about 14 months ago within the first half of last year. And my co-host at the time, since then I've been demoted from co-host, but at the time my co-host poo-pooed the idea. Nonsense, he said. Now I likened it to when Sam Mitchell at Hawthorn won the 08 premiership, and I can't tell you the exact timing, but not long after that, Luke Hodge took over as captain, okay, because he was the better captain. Okay, yes, Mitchell had won the premiership, and yeah, he would have been a fine captain, but Luke Hodge was the better captain. In the first half of last year, coming off a bad ending to 23, I said, yep, he's great with the old speeches, isn't he? With the Anzac Day speeches, you'd want him for that. But as far as on-field goes, I would have gone for Nick Dacos, even though he was 21 at the time, because we all know he's a great player. But
inspirational.
I believe he's a great leader as well. And it's not like there hasn't been 21-year-old captains in the past. Wayne Carey, for instance, who have gone on and been great captains. So this stuff about, you can't make him captain, he's too young. Maybe too young for the majority of 21-year-olds, but not all 21-year-olds are built the same. Okay? He would have been, so I think he should have been made captain last year. This couldn't be last year because Moore started the year as captain. But I think he should have been this year.
Just quickly, while we're still on the captaincy, if the club did think it was too early for Nick Dacos, would you be happy with someone like a Bruzzy to take over for 1 or 2 years until Nick was ready, or would you just stick with Moore if that was the case?
No, I'd be happier for Maynard to take over for 1 or 2 years. Yeah.
And the reason
a bit like when Scotty Burns took over from Bucks.
That's
for
what
a
I
year.
just said about 2 minutes ago.
I'm not sure about you listeners, but I tuned out a little bit. It's got to be said.
I mean, the reason I said no to taking the captaincy off Darcy Moore last year, he'd just come off he was a premiership captain the year before. He was.
But it would have been at the start. They can't change captains halfway through a year.
No.
But it would have been the start.
But at that point, it had only been about half a year of poor on-field performances.
I could see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, but I wasn't ready to chuck out a premiership captain at that stage after half a year. But it's been nearly 2 years.
Darcy Moore, he out-Darcy Moored himself on the weekend. Of all his stuff-ups, those ones he regularly gives up 1 or 2 goals a game, the Watson one was the absolute worst because it looked like he did it on purpose. It looked like he just that was not going to end in anything other than a goal to Watson. You could see it happening before he tapped it.
It happened in slow motion, didn't it?
You could see it happening, and then to back it up, as if to say, "You think that's crap? Take a look at this." He's gone the double fist, not once but twice again. He's doing it all the freaking time.
With no one around him.
Mark the freaking ball more. Mark the ball.
So many people talked about the double fist during the week, not just in Collingwood podcasts and YouTube videos, but actually in the AFL media itself. I think Jimmy Bartell was strong on it. So you think it would have filtered back to him and he went, okay, this is a real issue. He did it again, I reckon about 5-10 minutes after the little tap to Watson. So in the first quarter, that was his first one. He was about, what was he? About 60, 70 out from our goals. No one around him, double fisted us straight down the throat of a Hawthorn player. Lucky we were able to get the ball back.
I was one after the game, in the press conference, I went to sleep and I watched the next day. McRae made mention of players who, when they're down on form, they say to him what they do when they're in form. And he says, well, do that. And some people will say, oh, when I'm in form and I'm confident, I tackle. Yep. He said, well, tackle. And other guys say, oh, when I'm in form and I'm confident, I go for my marks. And he says, well, go for your marks. Wouldn't surprise me if Moore was one of those guys who came to him and say, when I'm in form, when I'm confident, I mark. And he would have said, well, mark. Well, he's still not. He's going for the double punch.
And funnily enough, when he's right on the line and there's the big guys, Lloyd Meek, for example, who I know was Darcy Cameron's opponent, but there were so many times.
I've got something to say about it.
We'll talk about that a bit later, but there were so many times. I mean, one of the times Darcy Cameron was on the mark, so it wasn't actually really his fault. Darcy Moore went for the punch and couldn't get near it. So there's times when he actually needs to he failed.
Yeah, but in that, let me just talk about that for a second. Why was Cameron on the mark?
Because I think Deere took the specky. I think he was too slow to stand up, and then it was called stand, so I think he had to stand.
Oh, okay. Because I'm saying, and it happened another time. Well, Meek took another mark in the goal square, but maybe Grundy, Cameron just wasn't on him. But on that instance, I'm saying, why wasn't Cameron on the goal line?
There was one instance where I didn't even see him there. I was thinking, was he off the ground maybe? And McStay was coming up against Meek? Because there was one time I did not see him even in the picture when Meek took one of those marks.
Oh, yeah, that's what I just referred to. Meek took another mark in the goal square later on. Yeah. But what Cameron might have been, he might have been out on the wing waiting for any resultant kick in or whatever, because you can't do it in two places at once.
He got smashed though, Cameron. Let's not sugarcoat it. He still got smashed.
No, yeah. He got beaten. But back to Moore. Moore reminds me of a player who grew up without the game. He reminds me, some of the mistakes he makes reminds me of somebody who might have come from Ireland and has come out to play the game, or America, or whatever the case may be, or just didn't grow up in it. He was steeped in the very foundation of the game, as we know, as the son of Peter. So, but sometimes his decision making, it's like he's not familiar with the game. He makes such stupid decisions.
It's incredible, and this is a huge last month of the season, or last month to 6 weeks, or whatever it is. Hopefully, we somehow go deep, but this is huge for Darcy Moore, more than anyone. Like Jeremy Howe, this is another chance for him. Jeremy Howe's obviously not going to play against Adelaide. It's such a gun forward line they've got. Hey, captain, stand up. Show us what you got. Show us what you got and save our fucking season, mate.
Is it too late to get Charlie Dean's taxi to turn around?
So how are we going to replace Howe against Adelaide? Is Charlie Dean going to come back against Phil Thorpe and Fogarty and Tex? Or is this like there's no one? Or maybe McStay, he played a lot more back on the weekend. Does he just stay there?
Come in, he can intimidate Phil Thorpe. We'll just say, just go and intimidate this guy, mate. Like him turn to water. I don't know. I haven't given it a lot of thought. Serge is the type of guy, he knows the form of the...
I don't think there's anyone other than...
No, I don't think there is either.
So the McStay just stays back, doesn't he?
How about...
Well, does he?
Just... Oh, yeah, well, McStay stays back. Yeah, that's the answer. Sorry. My brilliant idea...
Fuck, he was shit again on the weekend, McStay.
But having said that, when he did go back, he still wasn't good. But, maybe he stays back. Yes, I agree. But the problem emanates again from the weekend, from the midfield. Like I went into this game thinking, okay, Day's out, Newcomb's in poor form. Yeah. We could actually win clearances.
No, why would you ever think something that silly?
I thought we could actually win clearance.
In a clearance?
Well, I thought we were an outside chance. Now what we're doing, we're putting we're complaining about the backs, but we put them under immense pressure.
We do, yeah.
The midfield and as far as the forward line in the midfield goes, what a connection's still terrible. I'll read out this is what happened in the first quarter. Not the Membry's part of the midfield or anything, but Membry, Dacos, Houston, and Sidebottom. Probably four. Well, of the field kicks, 3 of the best 5 field kicks in the side. Okay, and Membry is a good kick. Primarily a goal, but he's a good kick. In the first quarter, each of them put the ball on the chest of the opposition, kicking inside forward 50, just in the one quarter. Didn't put it to their advantage, Hawthorn's advantage, put it on their chest. So what chance has the forwards got with those type of entries?
And then you got the flip side, and then they took 18 marks inside 50.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, again with their nice use and,
Tell me, Michael, how does it happen that a team like Collingwood that is fighting for their season, who've come off an awful loss against Brisbane, have everything to play for, tell me how they come out with 42 tackles for the game? Like, the effort was not... Yeah. Like, the effort was just not there. That is the most disappointing part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys, like... I don't know. They're good footballers. We've seen most of them win premierships. We saw even the start of the year, we're 14-2. We're good. They're good players.
Like you would have, as you said,
they're good. That's what we're known for.
They're good players. We're coming up to the most crucial game of the season to date. It's Sidebottom's 350th.
Yes, of course.
It's Perryman's 150th. This is supposed to. I don't like thinking that these milestones have to motivate. You'd think every time the players run out there, they're at their motivational peak. You'd like to think because they're professional footballers. But I do hear that they get extra motivation because it's somebody's milestone. It's a bit of a concern to take that. But if that's true, well, Sidebottom's 350th, Perryman's 150th. Okay, so I'm not sure.
It's just to come in with absolutely zero effort, and we'll get into the Julian Rowe medal a little bit later. But I don't reckon we had one good player. I don't reckon we did not have one good player on the weekend. And normally, even in your really bad losses, you look at the list and you're like, you know what, this guy played all right, and this guy still showed something. You'd still be able to pick out 2 or 3. Not one player came to play on the weekend.
Right.
And
are we going to have the what's the name of the segment, the selection table at any point, or can I just say things now?
Just go for it. Go on. What have you got for us?
Environment.
Can I guess?
Yeah,
can I guess one player that's not going to be in your team for Adelaide? After 4 disposals from a full game, Will Hoskin-Elliott. Am I going to assume that he won't be in your team to play Adelaide?
Bit of a surprise. We'll talk about Will Hoskin-Elliott later on, but no, I wasn't going to mention Will Hoskin-Elliott now. Ed Allen needs to come back into the side and needs to play as a midfielder. We recruited him as an inside mid. He's one of his best games he played for the club. Yes, it was against Melbourne last year when they checked out. I understand that. but he racked up the possessions as a big-bodied. Well, he as a tall, biggish midfielder with pace. He's got pace. Okay, that's what we're lacking in there. We're lacking pace and a big body with pace. Well, he's a reasonably big body. And he's got pace, and that's his preferred position. Get him back in there. We're going to have to get rid of Long and or Mitchell after that performance.
Long,
yeah.
like Mitchell wasn't amazing, but he showed more than what Long did.
Yeah. I'm not saying get rid of Long forever.
No,
but something's going wrong. As I said last week, I called for him to be dropped and given a week off, like week off from footy altogether. Because he can't go from being so good to so poor. There must be something going on. Is he carrying an injury? Is he just tired? As I said the other week, is he tired after a long season? A relatively young guy who hasn't had a lot of pre-seasons, hasn't built up that base. Does he? Another one. It needs a week off.
Well, let's not forget. Like, we've seen the best in that Long, and he was amazing. So we know how good he is at his best. But we've now seen his worst, and he was delisted by the Hawks. Like, Sam Mitchell's not an idiot, and I'm sure he occasionally gets a few things wrong.
Oh, everyone gets something wrong.
Yeah, but like for him to be like, you know what, this guy isn't even in our top 45 players. Maybe, and I hope this isn't the case. I'm not saying it's the case, but maybe he just had a bit of a hot patch for us at the start of the year, and we're now starting to see the real Ned Long. I'm not saying that's the case, but like
maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, okay, if you're done with that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, that was a good little segue, actually, because I've got a few notes here, which it does feature Ed Allen in a potential midfield role. So normally I don't do this in the middle of a year, especially a year where we're going to play finals and hopefully win a premiership. I don't think we're going to now, but that's still the dream. But I've now written up a few notes about what I want to see in 2020.
Oh, you're not going to prattle on, are you?
I reckon you're going to like this. No, I reckon you're going to...
How long is it going to take?
Not very long. There's a few dot points, and I reckon you're going to agree with most of them. Because
I'd have to be listening first.
Well, make sure you listen. Because when I look at this team, I feel like you can't make rash changes now. Like, we are what we are. We need to... Obviously, we need to find some form, but you can't make huge changes, which I'm about to talk about in here. For the remainder of this year,
is this your preamble?
You just gotta hope that we find a way and compete in finals. But this is
Dermott doesn't just say things; he gives this huge preamble first, where he takes about 3-minute preamble about what he's about to say instead of just saying it. Say it.
So this is we're starting fresh next year. This is what I want to see. Can you shut the fuck up? Can you seriously shut the fuck up?
I'm shutting up.
Unlike you. I actually do research for this podcast.
I'm scared because of your gigantism. I'm not going to mess with you.
Right. Okay. 2026. Now listen, Michael. Listen, because I think
I'm going to take notes. 2026. Right?
2026. I think you're going to agree with most of these.
Right. Go.
Darcy Moore to become...
Yep.
Darcy Moore to become a forward ruck.
My idea. But anyway, keep on going.
With Silvani to replace him at centre-half back.
Yes, tick.
All right. Give Nick, Josh, Bo, as in Bo McCreary, and Ed Allen the keys to the midfield.
Who was the last one?
Ed Allen.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I want to see Nick with a bit more space. I want him in space.
Yeah,
So
but
spending time off halfback for Nick as well, and not the hit 2 guy in the centre. Keep on going. I'll give it a tick though.
Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos, Bo McCreary, Ed Allen.
Yes.
To me, that is the future of our midfield.
Yeah.
Give them the keys.
Yeah.
And with that, Pendles and Steele.
Oh, sorry, I got a question. How about DeGoey?
I'll get to DeGoey's.
Oh, okay, right.
Pendles and Steele, side bottom, still in the team, obviously, but they need to find second roles because not that they're not capable anymore, but we just need to start giving these guys in their early to mid-20s more responsibility.
You mean secondary roles as opposed to second roles? Because they are already pretty versatile.
Yeah.
Because side bottom can play inside, mid can play wing.
Well,
are you saying we need to have them as secondaries to these guys? Yes.
So I reckon the Pendles and Steele can start, play on the flank, start as a high half forward, push in, start as a half back, push in, even out on the wing, especially for side bottom.
Tick.
We need to let those 4 guys I previously mentioned, they need to go ahead of Pendlebury and Sidebottom next year.
Yeah.
For the time being, Pendles has got a huge final series ahead, so he's still in there for the time being, but next year. Bobby Hill, and if he's still at the club, and I hope he is, but just assume he's still at the club, Michael. Bobby Hill on a wing.
Yes.
With Harvey Harrison, the forgotten man, taking his spot up forward.
Yeah.
Let's get some more pace into the game. Let's get Hill up the ground.
I've been calling for Hill up the ground for a year, as you know. Harvey Harrison.
He's the forgotten man, isn't he?
No, I haven't forgotten about him. I was very annoyed. Well, annoyed's not the right word. I thought he might have been coming back with a month out from finals originally, but he was ruled out a while ago. But he's got a lot of pace too. I'm not sure about him deep forward. I want to utilise his pace.
Maybe not. No, not him. Maybe more high half forward. Half forward. Harvey Harrison. Yeah. But basically, what I want is to see Bobby out on a wing, up the ground, using his speed, breaking the lines. He's a beautiful kick inside 50. Let's get him involved more. Let's get Bobby involved more because he just goes too quiet in there. Yep. And then Harvey Harrison's the perfect replayer. He can play high half forward. Yep. Like you still got that small forward with the speed in the forward line.
Yep, agreed. Tick.
Dan Houston to own the half back line. So he go into the season. No Josh Dacos. He's now in the midfield in this little in my notes here. You say Dan Houston. Time to step up. This half back line is yours. You own it. Everything goes through you. And just take inspiration from Lockie Schultz, who had an awful first season, and Shooter has just been sensational this year.
Isn't it funny? Just to interrupt for a second. Last year, I was a supporter. I thought Schultz's first year was okay for Collingwood. Like he kicked 24 goals. He laid about 90 plus tackles. I thought, well, that's a bad year. Then there's going to be just compare those stats. And I agree, this year has been better. But he's only kicked 10 goals this year.
Yeah, it's all about the eye test.
Yeah,
like his role's been, he's just played a lot better football.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, Houston is now the man at the half-back line.
Not sure I like that expression. It's very kind of 51st state-ish.
He's the main distributor. Everything goes through him.
Yeah. Agreed. Tick another tick.
Give him more responsibility.
Everyone's been a tick.
And I want to touch on him after this as well because, man, he was awful on the weekend. I want a smaller forward line with De Goey and Elliott coming out of the square, and Myercheck and Darcy Moore as the only talls.
Yes, tick. Yeah. I've always been a supporter of only two talls. Any more than two is too much. A lot of twos there. Can I say something about Jamie Elliott, though?
Yeah.
While we're on the topic.
If he's still at the club, that is, hopefully.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. In the event that Jamie Elliott goes, I reckon, you know who'd be a good replacement?
From another club?
Bailey
Fridge.
We're of the same mind. Bailey Fridge.
We honestly, listen, we had not talked about that off air.
Yeah. He is a good player in a good side. He's a lousy player in a poor side. Yeah. He's like one of those types. You get him I think he'd be an ideal replacement if Elliott did move on.
Yep.
How insightful is that?
So this one here. McStay to train the whole summer as a defender and compete with Frampton for the fullback spot and play alongside Howe and Silvani. So there would only be room for one of McStay and Frampton, with Howe and Silvani being the third and second tours, and they're just going to compete all summer. So there's your depth. We've got one plays, one's in the reserves. So one does go down, the other comes in, because we've got no key defensive depth at the moment. And McStay just is not performing as a forward and as a second ruck.
Yeah. Look, I agree with all this. Of course, best 23s kind of change fortnightly. Like things change very quickly.
Well, that's what I mean. They're competing for the spot, so that might change.
Yeah, I know. But all these things we're saying, we could think differently in a month's time.
Oh yeah, but this is just a rough plan,
exactly,
based on what I was saying.
Yeah,
because things I think need to change next year. We can't keep on going with these older guys and guys in the same position like Moore and McStay. They just aren't performing.
Yes, agreed. Something has to change because given our form, something has to change.
And my last point here is I've sort of already mentioned with the first two. Give Ed Allen, Harvey Harrison, and Will Parker a regular game.
Yeah, Will Parker needs to be in the side. Yep.
And give Charlie West more exposure to the seniors throughout the year. So I'm not saying that, like, I've already said that I want the smaller forward line, but you've obviously...
We had to develop it.
Yeah, look, guys like the Goey, he might go down injured, then Charlie West can come in. I like Tim Membry, and he'll be at the club next year, but is it time that maybe guys like Membry... Or Myercheck might not even be at the club, so maybe Membry starts and Myercheck's not there. But then guys like Charlie West, if he's playing better footy than a Myercheck or a Membry, he needs to push ahead of them. We need to reward these young guys. So I like to see that happen. And basically, all this is with guys that we've already got on a list other than Silvani. So I'm not even including new recruits. And I'm not sure if I want many new recruits unless they fit us perfectly. Like if a Myercheck and a Elliot leave, maybe a Bailey Fritsch would be a great replacement. Do we need guys like Petrarca coming in, or should we just invest in Harrison and Ed Allen and Parker and guys like this? Are we going to waste our time?
Well, it comes down to the deal. Like it always comes down to the deal. Petrarca is still a very, very good footballer. What we have to give for him? I'm not sure. It would come down to the deal. If we got a Petrarca, I would like to see him predominantly forward.
Yeah, playing that sort of medium size.
Even though with our problems, as I've just said, are in the midfield, I'm not sure if he would be the solution to those problems.
50-50 split. A bit like I did mention with the going. I said I wanted him out of square, but I would still have him in spurts in the midfield. But I also want to see his body hold up. So I'm thinking maybe he's now a full forward for the majority of his career from here on out. And Petrarca, maybe they could both go 50-50 and switch. So
it would have to be a good deal with the Petrarca. Yeah.
But they're my notes. I knew you would agree if you just gave me some time to.
No, it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. No, it was good.
But
all ticks.
All ticks. Well, do you want to talk a bit about? We'll go back to the game on Thursday. Unfortunately.
Well, can I talk about you mentioned Grundy before?
Yeah.
Brodie Grundy. This hysteria about his form. He reminds me of Curnow getting the Australian side on the back of him just destroying sides like West Coast Eagles. Grundy's last 2 weeks, North Melbourne, no Cherry, crap side without their only decent player. One of their only few decent players who happens to be the ruckman. So no Cherry, dominated against them. Then came up against the 38-year-old Goldstein against Essendon, dominated that. Hopefully the Australian selectors balance it up a little bit.
Well, I've got an opinion on that too, and he's actually played some good opposition before that. He's been in stellar form the whole second half of the season, but
not that stellar. Not the stellar that puts his name up in lights.
Well, this is my issue. So Hoyne from SEN came out and he said that he believes that it should either be Cherry or Grundy that is the All-Australian ruck.
Yeah, I'm not saying it should be Cameron, by the way. And
the one thing I did agree with Hoyne was he said Jackson is the second ruck, which I actually quite like because Jackson does play that role and he plays every position. Yeah. So that's a good shout by Hoyne. I don't agree with the Cherry or Grundy should be all Australian because Cherry's first half of this season sensational. Second half pretty average, even before the suspension. Brodie Grundy's first half of the season. Terrible. It's just the same Grundy that we'd seen for the last few years. Second half of the season, unreal. But you need to play a full season.
Exactly.
Now, Max Gorn's been the most consistent, and people just want to be different because, selecting Max is the boring thing because they've done it 7 or 8 times already. He's been the most consistent. But for me, Darcy Cameron is second on that list because I know he was bad on the weekend against the Hawks, but throughout the whole year, he's been consistently the second best ruck. He hasn't had any form slumps. He's had the odd bad game here or there, like Thursday night, but he hasn't had any form slumps. Even when we've been bad, he's still been. He was good against Brisbane. He was good against Freo, I think it was, and Gold Coast. So, I think Cameron. I think he got that completely wrong. I think he goes Max Gawn 1, Darcy Cameron 2, then I'll probably go Grundy, then Cherry as my 4. Yeah.
It's funny. The selectors say, they draw a line through a bloke if they've played less than 16 games.
I think it's 16, yeah.
16 games. And they've used that as an excuse in the past not to pick the likes of Sam, who's the guy, Sam Taylor from GWS.
And he's only just going to get to the 16, I think, this year.
Yeah. But in previous years, no, we can't pick him. He played less than 16 games. He played 15 or 14 or whatever. But it's okay to pick a guy who's played every year, but maybe he's made the 16 games, but like 8 of them have been crap games.
Yeah.
It should be maybe you play 16 good games as a minimum, not just 16 games as a minimum.
Well, finally,
because that would guard against this potential Grundy thing that he's played fairly average the first half of the year, but everybody only remembers the great second half. So.
And it's funny to use Sam Taylor as a example there because I think he's clearly been the best key defender this year. Clearly been the best. He had one ordinary game against the Dogs, but they were all bad that game. Other than that, he's week in, week out, he's been the best key defender in the comp. And I think he's only going to get to the 16, 17. So he probably will just qualify. But I would rather 16 or 15 good games from Sam Taylor, one bad game, than someone like, I don't even know, there hasn't been a lot of good key defenders this year. Let's say Jacob Wiedering that's played every game, but only a handful of them this year have been good. He's been out of form. So
Yeah. Isn't it funny? I mentioned on the pod only about 4 weeks ago that there had been speculation in the media from Joey Montagna that Darcy Moore was a smoky for the All Australian.
and you didn't you agree with
No,
that?
I don't.
Oh my
I
God.
don't. No, I'm just saying what he'd said at the time.
Well, you didn't
'Cause
disagree.
he'd had a no. I didn't disagree because his previous 6 weeks had been very good. After being okay, bits shaky in the first half of the year, but his last month has just been.
He could be the captain of the VFL All Australian team, which if he was playing there, which he probably should be at the moment. But
Streaming. When do you think streaming started? Television streaming.
television streaming,
Like,
so not like
stream-
not
things
YouTube
like-
and stuff.
Yeah, well, being able to stream movies. When did that start?
2009, 10 maybe.
Yeah, I would have said the same. Try 1951. 1951. I was watching something on YouTube last night about the impact of the streaming service today on the movies and so forth, going to the cinema. You might want to pay attention to this, Dermott.
I just want you to finish so I can talk about Dan Houston.
So what it is, so they said back in 1951, at the very birth of television in America, they were doing some experiments, and one of which was they got about, I think it was 1,000 people, and they enabled them to ring a number, punch in a code on the dial, and which would signify a particular movie at the time, and that movie would be streamed to their television. They were actually doing that in 1951 as an experiment, but it fell over because the big studio system like Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox, they were up in arms about this.
I need to pee, so I'm waiting for this segment to finish.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. How fascinating. 1951, they experimented with streaming.
So Dan Houston.
Why don't we, if you need to go to toilet, why don't we just pause this?
We will just finish hot topics.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a baby. I'm not going to pee myself.
Well, it has been instances, but anyway.
What do you think? It hasn't.
Only joking. Only joking. He's got gigantism, but he's got a very great control over his bladder.
Dan Houston, 22 disposals, 63%. So his first quarter was okay. He had, I think, the 10 in the first quarter, a couple of errors, but at least he was getting involved. Next 3 quarters, he only got it another 12 times. I think there was 2 direct turnovers that cost us goals. It was good to see him finally in the role that he had at Port Adelaide, where he, like I said before, is the man. He is the main distributor. Just didn't play well.
Who is this?
Dan Houston.
Oh, Dan Houston, right. Yep.
Jesus, Michael.
Okay, good, yes. Yeah,
Far
keep on
out.
going. Keep on going.
Well, that's it. He just did not play well again. And I don't know what... Well, I do know what we're going to do with him. We just need to continue to play him in that role, I reckon. Expose Josh Dacos to the midfield and just let Dan play the role that he played best at Port Adelaide and hope that it turns around. But Jesus... I've had 36 hours of cool down. I was uncontrollable on Thursday night. Like if we did a live reaction show or even the next morning, I would have been going off my head. I've sort of gone away from football. So went to work yesterday, then went straight to a mate's place, stayed there till about 11 o'clock, just took my mind off everything to do with football. Woke up really early today to do a podcast, and that's when I kind of put these notes together then. Because I would have gone off my head about Dan Houston. Little bit more under control now. I did go off my head about Darcy Moore because no matter how much time goes by, that man at the moment is making me very angry. But what's your feeling about Houston's game and Houston's form? And it's just
Oh, who knows? I don't know. You hear McRae talk about things such as he's not calling for the ball, and that is as stupid as that sounds. There's probably a bit of truth to it.
Yeah.
Like if you're very vocal on the ground, people are kind of they're more likely to notice you because you're yelling out to them. So as silly as it sounds, there's probably a bit of common sense behind that. it sounds like I said, I didn't know a lot about him. I knew he was a very good player, obviously two-time All-Australian, seen a little bit of him, but didn't watch a lot of Port Adelaide, I've got to admit. So I didn't know if he was a confidence type player or not, but maybe he's in the Lockie Schultz mode that I think confidence really does affect their form more than it affects a lot of players' form.
Like I said previously, he's playing a much easier role than what Lockie Schultz was last year.
Yeah, I know that. I know. Yeah, and as far as his kicking goes, just some of his poor select that kick across the ground that hung in the air, get them a chance to get back. Yeah, and we keep on saying maybe let's just throw him in the middle against Adelaide.
Maybe
we're
now defended down with Howe. So
oh yeah, I don't know, but really the problems are starting primarily from the midfield. If he can go into the midfield and play well, and we could break even, I reckon that's our only chance. If our midfield gets smashed,
yeah, we don't want yeah, you're right.
If we get smashed again in the midfield,
we're no chance,
and they get it down to the three-headed monster, hopefully it's pouring rain when we play them. But if it's not, we're in a lot of trouble. So we got to do something with that midfield. We've got to get Ed Allen back. I'm not saying he's the Messiah, he's going to fix anything, but he's somebody different. And yeah, get Houston in there. As I said last week, get him in there, get him feeling good about himself, get him a 20-plus possession game, and then once his confidence up, put him back to half back if he thinks.
We'll talk quickly about the selection table. Is it simply Bo, Bobby, and Ed Allen come in for the injured Howe, Ned Long, and Will Hoskin-Elliott? They're the pretty obvious changes, aren't they?
Will Hoskin-Elliott's not leaving the side.
He got 4 disposals.
Let's not waste our breath.
He got 4 disposals.
He's not being dropped. We won't waste our breath. So you got McCreary, Hill, and Ed Allen coming back. Yeah, I'd have to look at the side, but Long, obviously.
Or would you go Mitchell? Would you go Mitchell or Long?
Oh, you'd have to drop Long after he had 4 possessions to three-quarter time.
He was the closest. He was named sub originally. He ended up playing a full game for the Howe, but that showed that he's almost out of it.
Yeah. You'd have to drop him. So he'd be one of them. But then again, as you say, we've got Howe out, so we have to go like for like. We have to bring somebody else in, or as you say, McStay goes back. McStay goes back.
We go smaller.
I think that's what we decided before.
I want to stay on Will Hoskin-Elliott for a sec because I listened to the boys on the rant the other day, and they brought up a good point, which I think we talked about at the time, but it just hasn't been spoken about much since. And all our over 30 guys have been offered contracts other than Mason Cox and Tom Mitchell at this point. That includes Will Hoskin-Elliott. Why the fuck has Will Hoskin-Elliott been offered a contract? What has he done this year for the coaches after 8 rounds to be like, here, have a contract, quick 1-year contract before someone else snaps you up? Like, why are we holding out on giving Myercheck and Elliott and these guys fair contracts, but we're so happy to chuck one at Will? Can we just get rid of him and whatever money he was going to get, whatever money we've offered, just put it onto Myercheck and Elliott's contract and fucking keep those guys? What is happening? 4 disposals on the weekend. Like, I know you're normally the passionate one with Will Hoskin-Elliott, but this guy's just no good. He's no good. What are we doing? Who's running this club?
He's got dirt on people in high places at the club. He's obviously got dirt on people at high places.
Why has he not been?
That's the only exclamation. It's just old-fashioned blackmail. That's what it has to be. It can't be anything else.
Why has he not signed this contract yet either? So we've offered it to him. Is he holding out for more money? What is happening? And I want to touch on Fly very quickly. Love Fly. And I stand by. I think he's the best coach in the competition.
I think Scott is. I think Scott's proven over a long period of time.
Yeah, he's a bit dodgy, but yeah. But I reckon Fly is the most legit coach in the comp. We all know that Scott with the giving out farms and the extended salary cap and lying about his injury list and all this kind of stuff. He's just he's a bit dodgy.
Jack Martin, I saw it on Twitter this morning. Apparently, Jack Martin was a late withdrawal.
There's always late withdrawals at Geelong. That's what Scott does. Yeah,
if you indulge me for a moment. A late withdrawal against Essendon, and they had him as a late withdrawal managed. Can managed be a reason for a late withdrawal?
It's what Scott does. But
why didn't they just say he was injured? That's a bit weird.
because they're dodgy. They've been doing this
That's
stuff
against
for
the
years.
rules.
As someone that plays fantasy and Supercoach, Chris Scott, everybody hates him because he's the only coach in the comp
Chris Scott.
that is dodgy. Ross Lyon's a little bit dodgy, but Chris Scott is just as
No,
dodgy as you get.
not Chris Scott.
No,
Anyway,
he's a wanker. But Craig McRae, best coach in the comp in my opinion. Still, despite the form that we're in at the moment, I still think he's the best. But something that does piss me off, and he didn't say this in his last press conference, but I just kind of want to get off my chest because he says it all the time. We are system-based. What the fuck does that even mean? System-based. I know what it means, so don't yeah. But like that is the biggest crock of shit. You're resting players because we're system-based. So you're telling me, oh yeah, let's get rid of Bobby Hill. Let's not get rid of him, but let's rest Bobby Hill, for example. Let's replace him with Oleg Markov as a forward. I don't give a shit about system-based. That is not a replace. Like let's say hypothetically grand final day, Bobby Hill was injured. He didn't play. What, Markov comes in to play a forward role to replace Bobby Hill? And that we still would have had the same result. We still would have won on grand final day, would we? Without Bobby Hill, the North Smith medalist with 4 goals. Yeah. System-based, Markov would have been able to cover that. There's no such thing as system-based.
Well, there is to a point, but system-based...
It's like bringing Harriet Dimatina in for Nick Dacos. Like, oh, no, it's fine. We're system-based. Come on.
System-based isn't 100%, obviously, because... then you could go out and you could potentially win games with anyone. So system-based is a big percentage of your plan, but you have to have talent to carry out the system, obviously. So I don't think he means system-based is the
one man in and never takes a role. And
it's
system-based.
No, it's not. It's not the.
It's the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, if you'd like me to articulate it a little bit better than it's the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard. It's not the B end and it's not the B end and of everything. The system, it has to be balanced with on-field talent, obviously.
This is how we got into the mess, by resting these guys because we're system-based and they go out, they have a rest, and we bring in some VFL guy and they do nothing and then we lose the game. But oh no, it's system-based. It's all good.
Talk
all
about
good.
Dimatia, if that's how you pronounce it. And don't write. I'm not really interested in how you pronounce it.
We've had a lot of people comment on me.
I don't care. We know who I'm talking about.
No, who are you talking about?
That guy. Anyway, Derek Hind, I sent you a text during the week.
Oh.
I heard on something that Derek Hind wanted to pick up Logan Morris, who just a week ago kicked 6 against us. But he was overruled by maybe Lepic, I don't know.
No, Lepic wasn't involved back then.
And they went for Dimatia. So we would have had Logan Morris, had Derek Hind, had his way.
This isn't a hindsight because I remember at the time we were linked with Logan Morris. So this is real. What you're saying, I believe, is 100% real because we were linked with him at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember I was watching whenever we have a few high picks. I'm really into the draft. Like I haven't been the last couple of years because we haven't had picks. But I normally study the draft and I look at these kids and I read about them and I watch their highlights and think who would be best suited for Collingwood. And I desperately wanted Logan Morris at the time. I'm like, this kid's going to be good. And there was a chance that he could slip through to us. I was saying, I think it was 15 to 25 was his range. He ended up going into mid-30s, which is a steal, as we now know. And yeah, I wanted him at the time. When we got Dimatia, I knew a lot about him because he's one of the players that I researched. But I thought to myself, really? Like, he's someone that I probably had ranked late 20s, whereas I think I had Morris inside my top 20 when I was doing it. So I was a little bit disappointed. And then obviously, he hasn't played yet. He might end up being a good player for us, and I hope he is. And he's someone that I probably should have had on the list as someone that we should give more exposure to next year. But I think we fucked up.
Yeah. Well, in a different world, and every club can talk about this, I understand. In a different world, we could have had Callaghan, Morris, and Ed Richards in our side in a different world.
You need to let go of this Ed Richards thing.
No,
there's no such thing as a grandfather rule.
No, I'm not. It's got nothing to do with the grandfather rule. But we had a chance to take him and we didn't. And we went for Stevenson. Let's talk about Stevenson. Now we brought him up. And I'm not that critical because Stevenson did look like a jet at the time, but it just didn't work out. We ended up going for him instead of Ed Richards. Serge sent you podcast, Sack podcast. He's on that. And I haven't listened to it yet, but apparently Sack podcasts are always normally pretty good. And Serge posed the question, should we pick him up? And I actually spoke about this when he was delisted from North Melbourne.
I think we talked about it earlier in the year. So, yeah.
I think he would suit our side, our game plan really well. We know he can play the game. He's a good footballer. He's still only 26 or whatever, 26, 27. Yeah. we'd pick him up for
Jamie Elliott replacement.
Jamie Elliott replacement. What? Why not? Why not?
I like
Surely
it.
he's better than the 44th, 45th, or whatever person on the list.
It's like,
Talent-wise.
I listened to the first half. So Serge sent it to me. I listened to the first half an hour on my way here to do this. So I've still got about 40 minutes left. Haven't got into his North Melbourne days yet, but the first half an hour is very good. And yeah, I'm not sure what happens in the end of the pod, whether he says anything about potentially wanting to come back. I don't know. But I'm all for it. Like, he's the butt of so many jokes, Jaden Stevenson. But
you can play the game.
Yeah, he was awful in his last couple of years at North. But like, we saw the talent that he had in his first 2 years in particular at Collingwood. And
He was played out of position in North. He's a small forward. They're playing
medium
off the
forward,
half,
yeah.
they're playing him off the half-back flank and so forth.
I like
He's
him.
not-
And he still loves the club. The way he talks about Collingwood, he loves the club. He still loves Bucks. I know Bucks isn't part of the club anymore, but there was no... there doesn't seem like there was any falling out unless there's something comes out in the last 40 minutes I haven't listened to yet. Yeah, I'm all for it. I liked Steve. I really do. Like, if we can get him for nothing, then what's the harm? But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, anything else you want to talk about in hot topics or?
No, I don't think so. What are we going on to next? Let me just.
Oh, I'm going to go take.
Oh, yeah, you go. I got vomit coming up.
Oh, you do have a
Bang.
All right.
Watch
Well,
out.
I'm going to go take a piss. But we'll be back with a very short Julian Rowe medal.
Been pretty good, Julian Rowe. He's been better than pretty good. He's been a forward that has presented for them today.
All right. So yesterday, the day before, with the Julian Rowe medal, Michael was angry because he didn't want to give votes. Well, he wanted to give votes, but he didn't want to give. So the minimum, as Alice says, no, it's between 10 and 60 votes we can give. So you can't give any less than 10. Michael wanted to. He had a sook, as he did all last year. So I changed it. Last year was between 25 and 50, and you were whining about, I want to give more than 50. I want to give less than 25. So this year I adjusted. I turned it from minimum of 10, maximum of 60. First episode,
change again next year.
First episode, you were happy with that. First episode of the season, you were happy, and you promised that you'll stick to it. And now you're complaining again.
Because this is perfect. You're going to sometimes get a game out of the box like Thursday nights. That indicates why that perfectly illustrates why the rules are wrong, because there wasn't 10 votes to give out. That's why. It's not my argument. The game has presented it to you.
I've been thinking of a new twist to the Julian Rowe medal next year. I reckon we can pick one player each round if we want. We don't have to, but if we want, we can pick one player to get minus votes.
I brought that in last year with Will Hoskin Elliott, and you wouldn't let me.
I'm thinking a maximum of 5.
I gave you -4 in a game.
You can go. You can go -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or just not do it for one player. You can only choose one player. If that was the case, because I was looking at Darcy Moore features kind of highly in that leaderboard, which I won't give away, and I was just thinking, you don't deserve that, Darcy Moore.
It's not counterbalanced by his poor games.
You don't deserve that.
It's not counterbalanced by his poor.
I reckon you and I would be giving him a lot of minuses in the last few weeks.
We're going to do that next year.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just pick one player a week. We don't want to go too out of control. But
it doesn't always. We don't.
No, but we don't have to either. Like that's the thing.
Anyway.
It's only if we feel like it's well deserved.
Anyway.
All right. So I've given 10 votes, the minimum amount of votes for the first time this year, and I've got no stats because these guys don't deserve stats. None of these guys, I'm going to have to read out, played well. None of them played well. So basically, how I decided to give out my 10 votes was I picked.
This is Dermott's well-established preamble.
1,
Instead
2,
of just saying
3,
things,
4,
he gives
5,
the preamble.
6. I've picked 6 guys that I looked at that night and thought, yeah, you're somewhat trying. Because as we know, with the 42 goals, there wasn't a lot of trying.
But it shouldn't be for trying. It should be for playing well.
They looked like they gave a little bit of a shit. And I'm not even going to go in reverse order. I'm just going to read them out with no stats. I've given 2 votes to Pendlebury, Myercheck, Schultz, Nick Dacos, and I've given 1 vote to Jack Crisp and Braden Maynard. You guys, you weren't good, but you looked like you gave a little bit of a shit. The rest of you guys, hang your head in shame. You're disgraceful.
Okay, my voting. Nick Dacos 5, Pendlebury 4, Will Hoskin Elliott 1.
No, shut up.
No, that's it.
No, and you can't make a joke.
No.
Julian Rowe.
And this illustrates the contempt I have for your system
No.
by me having to make up the 10 votes by giving Will Hoskin one.
No.
If you're going to have a stupid
No.
system, it's going to produce stupid voting. And that's you have it right there.
No.
Nick 5, Pendlebury 4, Will Hoskin Elliott 1.
You know-
and actually, speaking of Will Hoskin Elliott,
No, you're not allowed.
speaking of Will
You're
Hoskin,
ruining the medal.
Speaking of Will Hoskin Elliott, Dermott was telling me about the SAC podcast that he's listened to on the way in that Serge sent. And apparently Stevenson waxes lyrical about Mason Cox, how Mason Cox is underrated. And I agree, by the way. And he talked about the 2018 season when you had a lot of guys like Thomas and Stevenson and Will Hoskin Elliott all kick over 35 goals.
Hoskin Elliott over 40.
He put it, yeah, but all of them over 35. And he put it down to Mason Cox's work in the forward line. And when you think about it, Hoskin Elliott, 40 goals. Have we now got Will Hoskin Elliott's evil twin at the club? Has there been a point in the past where there's been a shift? How can Will Hoskin Elliott kick 40 goals in a year?
I am terrified because in this moment,
How has that happened?
I've realized that I'm more like you than what I would like to admit. Yesterday at work, I said to one of my mates talking about the game, this is true. You and I haven't spoken about this. I said, I'm not convinced that we got the Dan Houston from Port Adelaide. I think it's his evil twin. They were my exact words. I am disgusted. I don't want to be like you. What is happening?
Will you explain to me how this could have happened? How can Will Hoskin Elliott have kicked 40 goals in an AFL season at one point? But anyway, there you go. That's my votes.
No, they're not your votes. So who are you giving the last vote to? Because it's not Hoskin Elliott. It's not Hoskin Elliott.
Well, who were your votes again? I'll just pick up. Just read yours again. I'll just see.
Pendlebury, Myercheck, Schultz, Dacos 2, and Crispin Maynard 1. Surely I think Schultz always tries.
Schultz 1 vote.
All right. But I think Nick Dacos 5 and Pendlebury 4. That is a lot for their games. That's why
No, look, Nick
No,
was good.
he wasn't.
Yeah,
He wasn't. 5 votes for that game. All right. It's been a few weeks, but here's Michael with I Got Vomit.
When people get winded on the ground, do they go, "Ugh"? Does that still happen a lot?
Do you want me to test it out?
No, I was going to say. Because I remember when I used to get winded, you lie on the ground, and all you hear is,
Okay. Now, this is something I feel very strongly about. The AFL, just leave the rules alone for a while. I know, well, at least leave the father-son alone.
I agree.
It's sacrilege, okay? To want to get rid of it is sacrilege. I don't understand the problem with it. It is a rule that's open to all sides. All sides can benefit from it, other than at the moment the expansion sides. But even that will change in the next 15 years or so when their previous generation of players start having kids and they start coming through. So it's open to all sides. And in the meantime, these Gold Coast and GWS, they're more than compensated for by academies anyway. But that's another discussion. It's not like they're missing out. And they all talk about how it's just exacerbated a little bit because of how good the Dacosses are and the Ashcrofts are. Okay,
Sam Darcy
and Sam Darcy. So it's kind of heightened a little bit at the moment. But so Collingwood and Footscray and Brisbane are having a good time at the moment. But it goes around in cycles. Like Geelong, they were well stocked 15 years ago during their 07, 09, 11 days. They were well stocked for father-son.
Ablett, Hawkins, Scarlett.
Oh yeah, goes on and on and on. So it's just open to everyone. Why they want to get rid of it makes no sense. If it just advantaged a few sides, I'd understand it. But it could have been. There's apparently a lot of St Kilda players who have had sons. Unfortunately, the St Kilda players were no good. That's why they've only won one premiership. So their sons probably aren't going to be that good either.
No, they were.
But it's
funny because St Kilda are the main club that want to get rid of it, which is why would they want to get rid of it now with all these guys about to come through in the next 10 years?
Yeah. It just and they say, they complain about Collingwood with the Dacos brothers, but as you pointed out a few weeks ago, What did we take Josh at?
It was like late 50s.
46?
No, it was late 50s, early 60s or something.
Nobody bidded on him before.
No, we just picked him up as a normal pick in the end.
Exactly. So stop pointing to the Dacosses. It was only Nick. Josh could have been open to anyone. And this goes right, like it's part of the history of the game. It goes back 70, 80 years. It started with Ron Barassi because Melbourne, they campaigned to the league at the time to introduce the rule because they wanted Ron Barassi's, I think it was Ron Barassi Senior. Yeah, they wanted his son. So it's just part of the fabric of the game, and you're going to get your turn eventually. The other clubs, stop whinging.
The only thing that's positive in all this is the fact that it was Caro that reported it, so it's probably not true.
Oh, I've heard it in other things as well, but there's nothing better than seeing the son of a great player come through, and you got that anticipation. Nick Davis and Jackson Barham and all these guys coming through. You think, oh, what are they going to be like?
The Cloaks
it goes on
and
the Dacosses and
Darcy Moore.
Yeah, Darcy Moore, Mark Richardson. It goes on and on and on. Even going right back at Jamie Turner.
We've got Oscar Loney coming through next year. Hopefully.
Not as excited about that one. But
I like Loney.
I like Loney.
He's one of my all-time favourite players. Don't you dare talk shit about Ryan Loney.
Don't get rid of it. There's a lot to like about the father-son. And all the marketing it brings to the game as well. Look at all the marketing the Dacos has done on the back of Peter. That's drawn a lot of interest to the game.
They won't get rid of it. I would have stressed itself out.
At the very least, I think they will tighten the rules around. You'd have to pay more. I reckon there's talk of if that player is considered a first rounder, you'd have to pay more for it and you give up your drafts or give up your picks.
Well, that's fair.
But is it fair? I don't know. But anyway, that's it.
Well, yeah, you just made me start. You made me start again, and I was actually going to bring this up at some point in the year, but I think it's a good time to now. Caro. Now I thought myself, who are the most pathetic journalist in the AFL? Because I'm actually a fan of journos. They get a lot of stick, but I think they're just, at the end of the day, most of them are just doing their job. Cal Toomey, very, very good. Tom Morris, a lot of people hate, but he's very, very good. Riley Beveridge, very, very good. These guys are good at their job. I like them. But then there's the opposite. There's some absolute deros out there. And I want to bring up three in particular. These are the three worst journos in AFL media. And they've all had a little bit to say in recent weeks. I've got number 3. And the rant were like this. John Ralph. Isn't he a cockhead? I'm sorry, but isn't he a cockhead?
Yeah, I saw he had a story last week that linking Bobby Hill to Carlton. If Bobby Hill leaves the club, he's going back to WA.
Apparently, Gold Coast are interested in now too, according to Ralphie.
He's not going to Carlton. That was just a story out of thin air.
Ralphie's been trying to force this thing that there's just all this hate in Collingwood at the moment. They're all angry because we're getting Jack Silvani and they want their share of the pie and all this kind of stuff. Gives us the biggest contract. God, he's just hammering that, isn't he? At the moment, he hates the pies, Ralphie. Everyone knows that. The top two, but man, I really struggle. Who's worse? But I settled on number 2 of Caro. And that's saying something because you'd think that she'd be a clear number 1. She's a disgrace. She should not have a job. The amount of things that she said throughout the years, we could list it. It could go on and on and on. But I'm just going to talk about her most.
The Sam Mitchell one, right? Though, didn't she?
Which one was that?
That Sam Mitchell was going to take over as coach of Hawthorn, and people came out and destroyed her. And the likes of Dicko and Gary Lyon and so forth.
Yeah. But most of the time she gets it wrong, and her opinions are just disgraceful. And the two most recent ones, when she basically called Nick Revolt sexist, that was the most ridiculous thing I've seen. How she did not get in trouble for that, I do not know. If I was Nick Revolt, I'd say I'm not coming back on this show until she apologizes. That was disgraceful. And in the most recent thing, how she said the AFL didn't want us to report this, but then she openly talked about the undercover security guard.
I saw that. I thought that was poor.
She's a disgrace.
Because as a journalist, you want to break the story, but you also want to balance it with public safety. You got a duty of care to balance things with the safety of those in the industry. If you're so you're an accredited AFL journalist, so you get an accreditation. That comes with I would have thought with a duty of care to those in the industry, and obviously that guy is there to protect those coaches and they, for whatever reason, they want to keep him undercover, covert to an extent. I'm not sure for what reason, but she's basically blown his cover.
And has he now lost his job because everyone knows who he is?
I don't know.
And she's like, oh, he stands out, so people would have worked it out. No, they wouldn't have, Caro. Absolutely not.
No.
Like, you're an idiot. You're an absolute embarrassment. You're an absolute joke. You're a fucking disgrace, and you should not have a job. The amount of people that she says should not have a job and they should be sacked. She is absolute scum.
I don't. I can't.
No,
man.
well,
she's not scum. She just says things you don't agree with.
Throwing Nick Revolt under the bus for whatever reason,
Yeah,
blowing this guy's cover, and she has a long history.
Yeah, she's not scum.
Speaking of scum, Sam McClure, number one. He's as bad as they get. Like, he's actually done nothing recently. Isn't he the most arrogant prick you would ever?
Did you go 3, 2, 1? I thought
Yeah.
you went 1, 2.
No, Ralphie 3, Caro 2.
Okay, right, yeah.
I can't get over the fact that Caro.
We're on to Sam McClure.
Yeah, I know, but just blowing that guy's cover is just an all-time low. Saying that about a colleague in Nick Revolt is an all-time low. Like, we could talk about 10, 15, 20 years of history with that woman as well.
She's been treated badly too over the years.
Yeah, like
he's been like
by Sam Newman.
Sam Newman was an absolute moron.
Yeah,
doing what he
absolutely did not deserve that. But but she can't act like she's innocent. Like, she said some awful things, and she continues to get away with it.
Anyway, Sam McClure.
Oh, Sam McClure is just an absolute wanker. Okay. Like, there's like at the end of I'm not going to pick him, Mitch. Not going to pick him. I'm always right. Look at me. I'm Sam McClure.
Carlton are winning the premiership, and those that don't agree know nothing about the game. Apparently, that's what he said at the start of last year. And Carlton limped into the finals, then got smashed in the elimination final.
He is an awful person. I hate Sam McClure. He is literally scum. Maybe scum is a bit harsh to call Caro and Sam scum. What's a better word? What's a better word than scum? Scum is probably harsh on them, but they are very unpleasant people.
Yeah.
And Ralphie probably not quite as bad. He's just dumb. Is Ralphie like the other two? I think Caro comes across as quite intelligent, and so does Sam. There's a lot of other things wrong with them. Ralphie is as dumb as they get. Is he the dumbest journo out there in the AFL?
Oh, look, I don't know. But talking about you talked about, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but Tom Morris, we did talk about him very early in the year, along with a lot of other journos, regarding their performance around trade period. Yeah. And I was of the opinion that, they come out and they say, yeah, we got this one right. It's the old dart analogy. During trade period, they just throw darts at the dartboard and they come up with 100 opinions, and 8 of them are right, and then they go off saying how, bask in the glory of being right 8 times out of 70.
I think he was pretty spot on with most of it. No, he has been right throughout the year. It's not just
I did bring up a couple of points I don't remember now, but earlier in the year, where he ended up being 100% wrong. He gave guarantees certain players would not get to certain clubs, and those players did get to those clubs, and it was just guesswork. It was absolute guesswork.
And I'll just make it clear, because I've just slammed Caro and Sam McClure for things that they've done wrong.
Did you muscle in on I Got Vomit?
Yeah, this is I Got Vomit, yeah.
Yeah, did you muscle in?
I have.
That's my segment. Sorry. What are you doing?
No. Well, you did take Blast from the Past a few weeks ago.
You need to edit this out.
but just quickly, what happened with Tom Morris a few years ago? Awful. Like, that was crap by him. Like, it wasn't.
So is this the thing? Which thing? The thing about
he basically outed someone.
Look, I disagree.
I don't think you understand the full situation.
I do understand the full situation. So this is a situation. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me just recount it for those who might not be familiar with it. So Tom Morris was out with a group of mates, right? And he was discussing a work colleague he fancies, finds attractive. Okay. Now, he said in very colourful language that Tom Morris didn't know he was being recorded, by the way. Didn't know he was being recorded. And he referred to this female colleague as, he outed her as being a lesbian, and referred to her in a certain manner, in a certain way. But keep in mind, he was with his mates. He didn't know he was being recorded. And then this found its way out in the public. Okay, I don't believe a guy should lose his job because of that.
Okay, let me just correct you, because
there is such a thing as a private life and privacy.
You got most of the story wrong. So yeah, so it was a WhatsApp group, and he recorded himself talking to his mates on the WhatsApp group.
I've got a couple of points wrong.
Yeah.
But did he know it was going to be made public? That's the crux.
For the moment you put it out there to your mates, it is public.
But isn't it public just... I don't know how social media works, but isn't it public just to the people you want it to be public to?
But
exactly.
you should know that there's a risk when you're recording yourself.
It's not the wisest thing to have done.
And talking about her in that way was one thing. That was bad enough as it was, but especially a colleague and someone that he, I think, called a friend. But as far as I know, he outed her as a lesbian. Like that wasn't information to anyone at that point, and that's just not on.
But he didn't out her. He just told outing it is to say it publicly, declare it publicly. He just told his mates.
Yeah, but you tell your mates, and they even if it didn't go out public, they tell their mates. All of a sudden, there's rumors. Like this is her business. He had no right to say that.
Yeah, but is it losing job worthy?
No. Well, this is my whole point. Oh, maybe, yeah. But my whole point was, at the end of the day, he made a bad mistake. But as far as I can you please let me finish?
The number of
Can you please let me finish? He made a bad mistake.
All of them, 7, 8.
He made a bad mistake, but at the end of the day, it was one mistake, and I think people still hold that the same way that they always go on about Gary Lyon sleeping with Billy's wife. Like, can people move on? Like, you're allowed to make mistakes. It's the constant ones that Caro makes. Like, she's just made a lot of bad errors that never get talked about. And guys like Sam Newman, yeah, he has as well. But I just don't like how people still bring that up. He's a good journo. He made one bad mistake. He lost his job for it. He was able to, after a year out, find a new employer, and he's doing.
He was always coming back. He served his penance. They were always going to bring him back.
Anyway, that's the segment of the journo talk. Maybe we should do more of this. Talk about all the journo. Who's your favorite journo? Is it Kaltumi? He's fucking great. Kaltumi.
I don't really have a favorite.
Riley Beveridge.
I'm not sure who Riley Beveridge. I know the name Riley Beveridge. Can't picture him. No, I don't have a favourite journo. I prefer commentators, game commentary.
We've already talked about.
Yeah, but anyway, no, I don't know.
You know who's underrated?
Who's that?
Another person that's been getting a lot of say. Abby Holmes. When she first started on Channel 7 as a boundary rider, she was no good. I reckon she's become one of the best boundary riders going around. And
I don't watch Channel 7.
Yeah, I don't either. But like I did last year when they were a thing. And she's been getting shit because she had a kid, came back 7 weeks later, and people were slamming her for that. Why the hell can't she come back and do her job?
Oh, yeah.
Like, why does these people, it's the same as what I was just saying, like they have an opinion on Gary Lyon and Tom Morrison. Why do these people have an opinion?
What's wrong with going off and having a baby and coming back?
Well, they just say they just come back too early.
Came back too early?
Yeah. It's her life. Like she wants to get back and do her job. Okay. It's online trolls, mate. Online trolls. It's just unreal.
Seems strange.
All right. Anyway, it's time for Who Am I? All right, are you ready? You can make up your lead here.
So what's the scores at the moment?
19 to me, 14 to you. So
right.
A mini comeback, yeah.
Right.
If I drop this lead, it's going to be Collingwood, like the second biggest choke since Collingwood.
You know what I'm predicting? Very, very difficult clues.
I've actually
born out of fear from Dermott.
Very good clues. Very, very good clues.
Okay.
All right. For 5 points, I was drafted at Collingwood. We've picked 31.
31, yep.
In the 2007 National Draft as a midfielder and came from a strong footballing family. My father and brother both played for Geelong. 2 of my uncles played for North Melbourne. And my grandfather and great uncle both played for the Saints. That is the best 5-point clue I've ever given you. I think
Would you liken him to Josh Kennedy? Sorry, say that. Read through it. I might have a big go at 5. So please just indulge me, listeners. I want to take my time with this one. So
I was drafted to Collingwood.
2007 pick 31. Got that.
Yeah.
So, but who's his relatives?
All right. So
is it midfielder? Yep.
Midfielder.
That doesn't include the ruck because ruck's key position apparently.
Yes.
Right.
My father and brother both played for Geelong. 2 of my uncles played for North Melbourne, And my grandfather and great uncle both played for the Saints.
Right. Father and brother played for Geelong.
I love how you're right.
Is that what you said?
Yes. No, you haven't got it, have you?
No, I haven't. I should be able to get it though. So 2007 came across as a midfielder.
Come on, Mick.
No, I don't know. I should know.
All right.
We've all that is a good clue. Yes, thank you. But
I want to give you a chance.
His father played for Geelong and his brother played for Geelong, and he played for Collingwood as a midfielder in 2007. So he'd be roughly mid 30s now. Be kind of a Pendlebury age. Pendlebury was around about 2005 draft. Pendlebury and Thomas. 2005, so he's a bit younger than those guys. So mid-30s.
All right, Michael, we need to move on. I'm sorry, we have to. This is taking too long. For 4 points, Collingwood Football Club win 2 tickets to the 2025 AFL Grand Final. Just popped up then.
Not exactly a Willy Wonka golden ticket, is it?
All right, that was great timing. For 4 points, I would debut in round 19, 2008 against St Kilda alongside Chris Dawes as a replacement for Alan Didak and Heath Shaw, who were out due to club suspension. I would play the last 6 games of the season, including 2 finals against the Crows and Saints. That instant, Didak and Shaw, Jesus Christ.
You'd have to know it then. They're always getting club suspensions, those two.
Didn't that just ruin our season?
Yeah. Was that the one where the wheels came off the car?
And they lied about Didak being the best.
Wasn't Didak also driving around with with somebody during a shooting?
Yes, he was.
A bikie gang member was firing shots from the car that Didak was in. Good times. Right. So round 2008 against the Saints, you say he came in with Dawes.
Yeah, that was Dawes' debut too. They debuted together.
I'm going blank. I don't know. Give me another. Give me an unofficial hint.
No.
Okay. And he came in. He was a midfielder.
All right. 3 points. For 3 points, I would struggle to hold my place in 2009 and 2010, only playing a total of 4 games in that time. I would, however, find myself as an emergency for the 2010 Grand Final replay.
Oh.
You don't know, do you?
Can I just look up how to braid my hair?
No, you're cheating. I see that.
Begin your braids. So who was an emergency for the 2010 Grand Final replay? You had
These are good clues.
You had not Didak. You had Leon Davis. That is a good clue. I don't know what the.
It's very rare of you to say that these are good clues.
These are good clues. It's just again I don't like the environment.
That's always...
It's the environment. It's the vibe. It's the vibe of the place. Very
all right.
Suffocating. Suffocating vibe is what.
Can we move on? Or are you going to take?
That's what you create. You create a suffocating vibe. I don't know. Let me think. So.
Think out loud because it is a podcast.
Who could have been coming in the 2010 Grand Final replay had anybody been injured? He must have been okay to be of an emergency during.
But he only played 4 games between 09 and 10, so he didn't play a lot. But
no, pretty good side though. In 09,
yeah,
10.
very good side.
So good players. Oh, I don't know. We'll move on.
For 2 points, I was a part of the 2011 NAB Cup Premiership team, but would only play 8 regular season games after that. At the end of the 2011 season, after 18 games in 4 years, The Pies and I would mutually part ways as I looked for more senior opportunities. I would go on to train with Richmond, but I would eventually get picked up before the Tigers first. I would eventually get picked up one pick before the Tigers' first selection by Port Adelaide.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah.
I forgot.
You forgot his name?
What's his first name? John.
You need to speak more.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Are you having a stroke? Are you okay?
He's coming. Not McCartney. He's not. You know who it is. You know, well, you obviously know who it is.
I know who it is because I made the.
He died. He died. Los Angeles. That would be the next clue. Yeah.
Well, who is it?
John McCarthy. John McCarthy.
What are you going to lock in?
Oh, I got it right. Okay.
What are you going to lock in?
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to lock it in? Are you going to?
Yeah. Well, I've locked in John McCarthy.
Say, can you please say it a bit louder?
John McCarthy.
Louder.
I've said it. It's my fault. There's my
John who?
What's his name? It's not McCartney. It's not McCartney. It's McCarthy. I'm not confident of that. Well, the other week we said as long as we get the surnames, it's okay. We've had a few instances where you got the first name wrong. You said James, McHale, and it was, you said Jock McHale was James McHale. That's all. So I'm locking in John. If we can get the first name right, as you said, you can get the second name right. So we should just John.
John who?
You didn't need both names. You said we didn't need both names. McCarthy. John McCarthy.
He just lock one in.
It doesn't sound right. John McCarthy. That's
McCarthy?
I don't.
Or knee? What were you saying? McCartney or McCarthy?
McCarthy. John McCarthy.
All right. For 1 point.
John McCarthy.
2012 was my breakout season. 2012 was a breakout season for myself, playing 21 of a possible 22 games for Port. I racked up an equal career high of 30 disposals against the Pies in round 4 and would average 18 possessions for the season. Tragedy struck 7 days after our last game of the season, where I'd fall from the roof of a hotel in LA, passing away at age 22. I am John McCarthy.
Yes.
No, not yet. That's probably not the appropriate time to say yes.
Yes, I'm very sad. Very sad time he died.
He literally was breaking out in that Port season. He did play well against us early in that year, and
not that. Look, it disrailed our finals that year as well because the funeral was a couple of days
before the West Coast semi-final.
Yeah, and
you saw Blair and Beams and I think Nathan Brown. All these guys were extremely close to him crying when we won the game. They were crying when they were coming.
Yeah, but then we it just didn't.
It didn't click. But but it was just. That was the first.
Sorry, no, he died before that game, but the funeral was before the Swans.
Before the Swans game.
Before the Swans game, yeah. And they attended the funeral midweek.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling it might have only been 1 or 2 days before the West.
Yeah, it
game.
was.
Yeah,
and then it was just a couple of days before the Sydney game, and the club didn't want the players to go. And
funeral.
Yeah, Nick Maxwell tells the story.
Really?
Yeah, Nick Maxwell had to put his foot down and said, no, we're going.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, that's my
understanding. I think that's what I recall Maxwell saying only a couple of years ago.
2012 wasn't really that long ago, and times have just changed so much even in that period. Like, there's no way a club these days would try and stop their players from going to an ex-teammate's funeral. There is no way. Could you imagine Fly doing that these days?
I'm not sure. Maybe they just suggested, or maybe we don't go, and then they just didn't put up any fire when the players said, no, we're going. Maybe they just tested him. I didn't know his. I don't remember his lineage being at Geelong and North Melbourne and St Kilda. I didn't.
His brother, I can't remember his dad's name. His brother was Matthew McCarthy, who played for the Cats, and I remember there was a bit of a joke about Matthew McCarthy way before John even came into the AFL. He was quite a bit older than John. And back in the old primary school days, we used to collect footy cards, and Matthew McCartney had a footy card for Geelong, and he was just basically the one that we all laughed at and choked at. No one knew who he was. There was always a few players each year, nobody knew who they were. It was the old team coach cards, so they still do them. And I think they picked top 10 players from each club, and everyone every year us kids were like, who's this guy? Who's that? There was maybe like 5 players each year to go. Matthew McCartney, yeah, he had one. I think it was like 05 or 6, and we all laughed at him and talked shit about him. And yeah, I remember old Kenny McGregor from Adelaide was another one that we used to laugh at. You remember Ken McGregor?
From where?
Adelaide.
Nah, not really. Kenny McGregor. Nah, I don't recall.
Kenny McGregor. Another one we used to laugh at was actually, there was 2 more from Geelong. There was a lot from Geelong really early. It was like 04. Everyone would be like, Steve Johnson and James Kelly. Who are these spuds? And we'll prove them wrong, weren't we? so a few of them ended up making it, but yeah.
Yeah, back in our days, the famous cards were the Vin Cottogio card and the Stephen Mount card, because Stephen Mount had this huge, the biggest smile we ever see on a footy card, and yeah, the Vinny Cottogio with his hair, and there was a certain meaning to a Vinny Cottogio card that people of my vintage will remember. It meant a fart. If you referred to the Vinny Cottogio, it meant somebody farted. But there you go.
All right,
schoolboy humour.
Tips.
Adelaide, a loss. Well, judging who knows, if we bring the same effort as we brought the other day,
100 points against them over there. If we bring that effort,
it'll be a big one. I don't know, mid-20s, I suppose. Yeah. Maybe if that'd be at the moment that looks like a good result, mid-20s loss.
Yeah, Crows by I'm on the same page as you. Crows by 27. It's I don't know. And the changes, are you happy with that? Like Bobby and Bo walk straight back in, give us that extra speed. Jesus, Bobby, what a frustrating season. Like, I know it's not his fault that he's sick, but Jesus Christ, nothing's going right for him.
But they're not going to be like in the last 2 months. What McCreary's played 1 game. He's not going to be able to run a game out that well, and Bobby Hill hasn't really basically done the same too. At least he's been able to train a bit more. But in the last, they haven't played enough footy, those two.
If either of those boys are sub though, I'll lose my shit, because we need them to win this game. This is the last of our big 3 weeks that we talked about, the Lions and the Hawks and the Crows. And it's our last chance to try and save this season. But we can't have them as a sub. This is it. This is all in this week.
Well, that's the season as well. And where do we? Like I was about to say, back when we were flying, I did a bit of a ladder predictor, and I thought we would end up with a minimum of 17 wins, an absolute minimum. That's being really negative. Probably 19, and potentially more. This is when we'd hardly dropped the game. But as far as all in, I don't want to start on a long discussion, but this is it. We're all in for this year. All in. If we don't win this year, and we've talked about the changes you make for next year, I'm not sure if we can win it next year. I'm not sure if we can win it next year.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think this is our year.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone's just going to be that little bit older and a little bit tighter, and I think if we don't win it this year, I think we might be a bit of a siesta for a while for Pies.
Yeah. All right. Don't forget, Tuesday night / Wednesday morning will probably be out the panel show. So that's going to be great. Andreas from Black and White United, Paddy from Paddy's Pies, and of course, everybody's favourite, the Grubman. God, we had a lot of comments after June saying, make sure you bring the Grubman back. Well, he's back. Don't you worry.
I heard he's angry in spite of the fact that he got his wallet back the other day.
Yeah, he did.
He's steaming. He's steaming.
I think we all are, except Paddy. Paddy's going to calm us down.
Paddy's very relaxed.
He's very relaxed.
A relaxed individual.
I'm not sure. Surely even Paddy would lose his mind if we drop this next game. I don't think this.
Well, and Andreas, I just saw the thumbnail, was it, to his review of the game, and he looked almost collapsed at the microphone. So I haven't watched it yet, Andreas, but you look like you'd seen better days.
Yep. I don't think that was as angry a podcast as what the Brisbane one was, even though I was probably a lot more angry after this game. I think that extra day to calm down was good for me.
Out of our control.
Well,
All right.
that's also the worst part. Is now for the first time this year we're relying on other results. It's not just in our destiny's not in our own hands.
Yeah. Well, I meant out of our control, out of your and my control. But it's now out of the club's control as well to a certain extent.
We could win the last 2 games, but still miss the top 4 because so we need, as I said before, Geelong, Brisbane, or Gold Coast. We just need one of those 3 to drop a game. But when you look at their draw, I mean, like I said in I think my solo vid, the best chances for that us getting the top 4 is either that Freo play Brisbane in Freo and GWS play Gold Coast on Gold Coast, but they're a good away team.
They could both lose those games.
But they could. No Lockie Neal as well will help. But,
that's well, no, you don't want to see guys injured, but it does help us.
But none of that matters unless we win on Saturday night.
And that really puts that's really bad for Brisbane because quad injury is a hard injury to get over. And even if he does get back for finals, I don't think he's going to be 100%.
No. All right. We're going to wrap it up. Any final words?
No, nothing for me.
All right. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. If you want to follow our socials, you can find us on X @IntoTheWoodsPod and on Instagram @IntoTheWoodsPod10. Thanks for listening. We look forward to doing it again on Tuesday night for the panel show. See ya.